Oh,
Looks good.
Like everything else, right?
You know, because of 9/11, I just want to say a few words quickly. I have been in Ground Zero 6 times. And I can promise you there are no spirits left in those buildings. The only thing that's left in the property itself is the emotions of the families themselves and what they believe happened. And I've had the privilege of talking to many that passed away in that tower, in the towers. So do know that 6 years I spent going to Ground Zero where the pools were, and 6 years talking to the spirits of those that were there. So rest assured, they are at rest. Rest assured, they all have passed to spirit. There are none stuck. All right? But today, I wanted to bring your words or your wand. You wave them over your situation. We're living in a time where not a place, not a country, but a planet has been affected physically, mentally, emotionally by what's happened. And out of that, I see a lot of fear. I talk to people every single day. They worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. They worry about whether or not they're going to have a job. They worry if there's going to be enough food. They worry about, there's lots and lots of things to worry about. But the trick here is that we use words every single day and talk to our bodies every single day. There's a woman, Florence Scollard Shinn, has written many books, and she wrote a book called Your Words or Your Wand back in the 1800s, early 1900s. She lived to be 69, and she was actually extremely well known. In fact, Nelson Mandela actually borrowed from her writings to make his famous speech. And the famous speech that he wrote was, our deepest fears is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fears that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. As we liberate ourselves from our fears, we give permission for others to liberate themselves. Words. You know, when I was growing up, words hurt. I was taught from a very young child that you cut somebody down, you keep them down with words. So we didn't use our fists. And it wasn't until I was in my 20s that I realized that my words could be mean-spirited. Because I didn't know that I hurt people with them. I knew I was hurt with them. I didn't know I hurt other people with them. There are simple words that we use all the time. How many people have been on a diet? I always say I refuse to do anything that requires me to die first.
I like that.
Think about just that one word, diet. What you're actually telling your body is that you've been bad. What you're telling your body is it's not good. And your body's listening. Words that we hurt ourselves with. How many people have thought, well, if I was taller, if I was thinner, if I was smarter, if I was. How many of those words have you said to yourself? If you stop and think that the Bible starts out saying that God spoke things into being. God spoke things into being. The power of our words. and the faith and belief that we have behind those words manifest amazingly. I'm going to say this because my darling Joe,
Me?
Yeah.
we went and got the COVID shot. And when we did, he said to me out loud, I have all this sick leave and I've never used it. Maybe I should take a day off.
Big mistake.
3 days later, he's in ICU. And he spent a month and 3 weeks in ICU. And while I was going every day, and while I was praying, and while I was trying to bring healing to him, I had my guides remind me, when I had my own center here in Derry, I was getting it all set up so the energy of the place I was in would draw people to it. And I had a 3-wick candle that I would light every day, and I'm not a ritualistic person, but I would light this every single day and ask for healing, for knowledge, and for faith. And one day I thought, this great thought, I said, I want abundance in all levels and all things. And all of a sudden I started putting on weight. And I am very health conscious, so I'm watching what I'm eating. I'm on a live it, not a diet. I never die, I live it.
I love that.
And nothing. I just kept putting on more and more weight. Finally, I went to my guides and I said, what is this? I'm so frustrated because I have done everything I can. And they laughed at me. They said, you asked for abundance in all levels and all things. What were you asking?
Oh my God.
Our words are a wand. We wave them over our situation. Having the emotion, the faith. 1 Corinthians 16, 13 and 14, passage 13 and 14. Be alert, stand firm in faith. Be courageous, be strong. Do everything with love. And the reason why I use that is because of the fact that, do you ever stop and really think about what you love? What makes you happy? What brings joy, peace, harmony into your life? What are the words that you would use in order to do that? When I've gone through a rough time, I will write things on my mirrors. I will put up signs. Dollar store is great for words.
Yeah, they are.
And on my mirror in my living room, I have the angels dance the day you were born. Now, I could sit here and tell you all the negative things that ever happened in my life. I can tell you all the reasons why I'd be angry. I could be sad. I can be. But this is my life. This is your life. You use those words every single day. So I oftentimes recognize, because I've worked with people for so long, that most people don't hear what they say because it's so rudimentary and so ingrained in them. How many have hated things our parents said and then we hear ourselves repeating it?
I get killed with them.
And yet we didn't like it when it was said to us, and yet we're repeating it. Words are our wands. We wave them over our situation. But turning words around are also important. Meaning what somebody says to us tells you more about how they feel about themselves than they ever have to do with how they feel about you. So what happens is they use their words to try to get you to claim their pain. They use their words to try to get you to own what they don't want to face. I have an ex-husband that was living rent-free at his mother's house, lived less than a mile, and there was a cop in the town, and the judge we had was the ex-police commissioner. And he would call me up and tell me what an unfit mother I was all the time, screaming at me. And one day I was listening, and a voice said to me, April, he's talking about himself. He's talking about himself. Which means that all the guilt and all the shame he felt, he was trying to get me to own it. He was trying to get me to take his words and make it about me instead of looking at where he was coming from. Words heal, and words separate, and words hurt. If I walk up and slap you, you can name what hurt you. If I walk up and beat you, punch you, do something physically to you, you have a name for that. But how many of you grew up hearing words that you took on personally because you thought they were talking about you? So I invite you this week to just stop and think before you speak. I invite you to think and listen to the words you say to yourself. I invite you to separate yourself from the words other people choose and ask yourself, are they telling me something about how they feel about themselves? Are they showing me their pain? And I'm going to bless them. There's another part of this that's really interesting too. You know, everybody's heard the words, if you give love, you get it back tenfold. But you know, if you give pain and somebody takes it from you, you've now received that back tenfold. Whatever you're giving out is going to return in kind. But the trick here is we get expectations. We pray to God and we say, I want such and such. And then we stare at the door and wait for it to come. We're going to stare at that door because we don't want to miss it. We don't want to miss it. Anytime it came in that way. In a way that we didn't expect. And we weren't looking. You need to trust. You know, Deuteronomy says, what father would give their child a stone if they ask for bread? How much more would your Father in heaven give you? My angels told me that it isn't that we ask too much. It's that we ask too little and expect less. Where is your desires? every single one of you have a loaf, a full loaf, by divine right. But how many of us have given it to somebody else? Or had somebody take it from us? And somehow think that we didn't deserve it. I find that most people live one of two ways. The okay God or the not yet God. Okay, God, what do I have to do and where do I have to do it so I can leave here? Because this sucks. Or not yet, God. I know you're trying to give that to me, but I don't think I earned it yet. I think they need it more than me. Self-defacing. Whatever we desire will come to us. We're here to learn to create. We're here to be the child of God. If we are the child of God, that makes us a creator by our very nature of form. The physical body slows us down so we can see cause and effect. We can see act and reaction. We can see what grows from what we give. Words are important. But it's also important when not to take words in. Our words are our wand. We wave them over our situation. Back to Joe. I had put out on Facebook and asked for people's prayers, and I got prayers coming from all over this world. In just one group, I had over 2,000 people that were sending him prayers. So one day, because again, working with my angels, they said that they cannot do anything with negative energy. But positive energy, they said even they can prevent it, they can lessen something. They can use that energy. So I decided he was bleeding out yet again. Or as the doctor said, when we got to Mass General, he was dying. And then they played whack-a-mole.
That was the doctor's words too.
It was his exact words.
Whack-a-mole.
They played whack-a-mole with him.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He was on dialysis, his bowels weren't working, his kidneys were shutting down, his heart was stressed. He's going in for yet another operation. 4 major operations and 5 or 6 minor ones he had in that time frame. So I decided if my angels can use physical energy with physical words, I asked that from the divine heart that anyone who's ever prayed for him to send it through my heart, through my hands, and directly to him. He had not had a physical meal in a month and 3 weeks. He got out of surgery. They had to put 6 clips in his belly because he was bleeding that much. He sat up in bed and ate his first meal and has gotten better ever since. The power of words. Because isn't that what prayer is? Words? The power that we have within ourselves to channel that energy to make a difference. So I want you to think this week when you go through your life, Are you going to let the words of fear control you? Or are you going to recognize that everything that is mine comes from the universe, not from somebody? Everything comes from the universe, not from somebody. Go to your higher world. Go to the higher senses. Go to, and know you're not walking this world. There's a saying, the best laid plans of mice and men go astray because they do not have the power behind them unless you give up your power to them. As the God in me honors the God in you. Thank you.